Hey everyone, I'm Jessica Kramer with MRC-TV. Today we're excited to speak with high school football coach Joe Kennedy and his attorney Jeremy Dyes on their recent Supreme Court victory. Coach Kennedy and Mr. Dyes, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
For those who don't know your story, you're a high school football coach and you would pray after the games on the 50-yard line and players would join you. And this became a legal issue going all the way to the Supreme Court?
Yeah, and it all started out with my commitment to God and just me giving thanks after a football game right there on the battlefield. And the way it started was just myself, nobody else around. And then a few months later, I had a couple of the players came up and asked, "Hey, Coach, what are you doing out there?" And I said, "I'm just giving thanks for what you did." They wanted to know if they could join, and I told them it was a free country. So from there, sometimes more kids came out, and as the years went on, more and more came out. Then the captains, they asked if they could invite the other team to join us. And again, this is your team, and it's free country. You guys do what you need to do. And they started inviting the other teams. Now, that was all hit and miss. And it wasn't until the school district, pointed it out because of they started an investigation due to a compliment. And from there, it just kind of went sideways. And I went back to doing exactly what I started doing, just praying by myself. And then ultimately, I got suspended from coaching and lost my job.
Now, have you seen other players and coaches praying after the game?
Oh, yes, everywhere. Just about every football team across the nation. Most of the sports, there's some kind of thanks. Before games, after games, some are student-led, sometimes coaches are. It all depends on the programs, and this really put a halt to it and scared a lot of people. They were afraid that they would lose their job if they could be seen praying with any of their players.
This case involved the First Amendment in both speech and exercise of religion. Mr. Dyes, you won the case 6-3. Were you optimistic of a victory? And what implications do you think that this has for prayer in public schools moving forward?
We were certainly hopeful. After losing, I think it was 5 times before winning before the Supreme Court of the United States, we had kept on pressing the same arguments and had to push back against a rather unfortunate narrative that the attorneys for the school district had put out there about the facts and correct them. And thankfully, the justices saw through that and understood that what was at stake here is what a lot of school districts around the country do, is to use the Establishment Clause as a way to drive religion off the campus. In other words, they shut the schoolhouse gates to any further constitutional rights when it comes to religion on their campuses here. And Justice Gorsuch really threw those gates wide open and said that no teacher has to shed their constitutional rights when they walk through the schoolhouse gates. And furthermore, school districts need to be very careful and, in fact, respectful of religion and the religious exercise of their employees. Here, the school district in Bremerton actually was doubly offensive to the First Amendment. They violated Coach Kennedy's First Amendment free exercise rights as well as his free speech rights. And then by firing him, they deprived him of his civil rights as well. And so Justice Gorsuch said they engaged in religious discrimination against Coach Kennedy. He was just simply obeying the Constitution. They were not.
So the Satanic Temple on Twitter is saying that access to abortion is their religious right. Mr. Dyes, many argue that abortion is a medical procedure not protected by religious practice. How do you view the Satanic Temple's claim?
Well, look, I'm not going to evaluate the theocratic or other theological points of the Satanic Temple or whatever it may have here. But look, what this case has represented, what this allows us now to understand is how important the balancing of the Establishment Clause and the free exercise clauses are in the Constitution. Coach Kennedy had every right to be able to engage in a private religious expression of the 50-yard line. And the school district clamped down on that and violated his First Amendment freedoms in doing so. The same would be said if he were in the classroom wearing a crucifix around his neck or wearing a yarmulke or hijab on his head, or if he even just stopped to pray over his lunch in the school cafeteria. The real problem came down that the school district said that if he could be seen engaged in religious activity, this private act of religious worship, well, then that would be enough to violate the Establishment Clause. Well, the justices shut the door on that and slammed it shut hard by saying that is a protected civil right that he has, and for the school district to fire him for that is religious discrimination.
Coach, what was the team's reaction to this? Other coaches, parents, players, the community at large?
At first, it was there was a lot of anger and misunderstanding because we were trying to work with the school district and trying to get to a happy medium between everybody. And the team, the community, all the players and their parents, they all wanted me to stay. We were all trying to figure out how to navigate through that. And it finally came down to where I can no longer move. They said either stop praying or you stop coaching. And that's where I just drew the line. And I told my team and everybody else, hey, this is my fight. You guys, your fight's out there on the football field. So parents got a hold of it. They did a whole bunch of stuff with the school and shared all their discrepancies with them. But yeah, overwhelmingly, so much support for me and have been with me this whole entire fight for the past 7 years. They have always been right there by my side, and it's awesome to say we did it.
Coach, after 7 years of this, how does it feel? Are you relieved?
It's a big sigh of relief now. It's been on my mind. It never goes away. You think, wow, they could rule any day, but after 7 years, it's almost where, yeah, sure, it's going to happen next week. Well, now that it's happened, I'm still kind of just getting used to it. I don't know what this means as far as moving forward. We know what we asked for, and we're waiting for the school district to reach out and see how we could best navigate getting what we all need and what we all want.
Coach, have you gotten word from your school district yet on whether you're good to get back on the field? Season's coming up. What does your future look like?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything, and I know that our summer program just started. So I almost feel those guys in the weight room right now and sweating out in the field. So I'm getting excited.
Coach Kennedy, Mr. Dyes, thank you so much for your time today, and we are wishing you the best of luck moving forward.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.